Okay, super interesting. That plays a little bit into what you said, I think, Spencer, on how it's sometimes challenging to find the right champions to really push forward. What's your experience with pilots and the outcomes of these kind of, time and expense heavy project steps?
So I think finding a really credible champion is extremely important, and these people are essential and frankly beloved to me in the companies that we work with, because they're folks who I think beyond just doing their day-to-day job have a desire to really improve their company. It feels like a very virtuous kind of thing. Now, with pilots, I think they're a double-edged sword, frankly. And I understand from the corporate perspective that folks feel like, hey, look, we need to test this out. We need to see if is this all hat, no cattle, or do they really bring the goods? And then also there's a question of how does this fit, not just as a technology demo, but how does it work within the organization? What's the adoption look like? In our case, how do the suppliers react to using it? There's all sorts of questions that I think you want to figure out, but pilots are very expensive. We have to basically do effectively an implementation. There's no quick and easy way to actually get the true experience if you want a real use case in a real production setting. And so you end up, and then there's another thing, which is that a lot of times companies don't really want to pay for it. They say, hey, we're just testing. This is an opportunity to sell to us. And then what ends up happening is you have the most well-resourced companies in the world asking for free services from the companies that are really trying to build up their brand from the ground up. Now, we're in the luxurious position now that we don't actually need to run pilots anymore. We have enough folks that believe the solution is credible that very often we've now just said, hey, look, there's two options. You can either do an on-site workshop for 2 days and then make a purchase decision, or you can get a 1-year license, and that is effectively doing a pilot. 6 months later, we'll have a renewal conversation for a 3 or 5 year contract. But I've also seen pilots work. You can prove value, but it's extremely important to understand upfront, if we do this pilot, what happens next. And so one of the failure modes I've seen of pilots is that sometimes people will fall back onto a pilot in lieu of a contract because they didn't get the budget or the staying power, or the executive alignment, or the champion. It's a lower bar, but what they're actually doing is they have to pay the piper 6 months down the line when they put in all this effort. And so if anything, I feel more so than ever, it's really important that if you're going to enter a pilot situation, you have a clear path to a bit of I would call it almost a charter. Hey, if we deliver in this way and these results stand, is there a production agreement at the end of it? Otherwise, it's just very, very expensive and painful and frankly demoralizing for the teams,